Greetings, my friend. We are all interested in the future, for that is where you and I are going to spend the rest of our lives. You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
10 minutes left. Yeah, but there's still some time. It's not the final score. We need more than the numbers we're given. Show us you live and breathe the game. You're more than a name. That's what we came for. We can bring you more than the score. Every story. Let's take this thing off of the field into the real world, away from the numbers,
Hello and welcome to episode 258 of the AFTN podcast. I am Knights Soccer League 2017 Division 3 leading goal scorer Joe DC. Beside me, a man who shares a birthday with Russell Tybert, Nicholas Ruprecht.
I did not know that fact. I will put that in for Do You Know Who I Am?
And calling from Surrey, he shares a birthday with Ryan Giggs, Gideon Hill.
Oh, fantastic. That's a stat and a half. I love it.
I was going to say I shared a birthday with David Bentley, but that's probably best we didn't go there.
Yeah.
Who do you think has the best birthday player equivalent?
Gideon.
You're saying Ryan Giggs.
Oh, yeah, by far. Yeah.
You're saying Ryan Giggs is better than Russell Tybert. There's a question we should ask Robbo. Gentlemen, today's opening question. If you could pick an MLS player to be the next James Bond, who would it be? Gideon.
Josie Altidore, because he seems to have his way with anybody.
Okay, Josie Altidore, who we just saw limp off the field after 5 minutes before TFC qualified for the Champions League. I don't know if James Bond's ever qualified for the CONCACAF Champions League final. Nick, who's your James Bond in the MLS?
I would choose Zlatan, because like James Bond, he knows how to make an entrance.
Okay. I went for, James Bond, smooth, right? Cold-blooded when he needs to be, but also, a lover when he needs to be as well. David Villa. David Villa is my James Bond. Because you can't argue with, how cool he looks all the time. Alternatively, I'm a big fan of the Johnny English films, so Liam Ridgewell would just be such a calamity that it would turn James Bond into a comedy franchise. Okay, very good. Well, we're going to move on to the next part, just to start off the show. We're going to look back on the Caps' calamitous last game against RSL. We hoped it would have gone a little bit differently, but we're going to just do our regular recap by completing the sentences. So the way it works is I have 3 sentences, and I'm going to ask everyone here to complete them for me, just so we can get an idea of what we think of the game that went by. So this week's first sentence is, there should have been blank red cards in the RSL game. Nick?
1?
Okay.
1 red card?
Okay, Gideon, there should have been how many red cards?
1 as well.
Okay, I'm going to go for 1 as well. I think it's the Kamara challenge.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was horrific. Okay, sentence number 2. Our best right winger is blank. Nicholas?
Rick Shea?
Okay. Gideon, our best right winger is? Teixeira. Okay, I'm going to go our best right winger is Alphonso Davies. Okay.
Is he our best left winger too? Then?
Yes, he is.
He's also our best left winger.
And left back.
And
probably attacking midfielder. Gideon, my ideal Caps summer signing is blank.
Arfield.
Scott Arfield. Nick?
A new playmaker of some kind.
Does this new playmaker have a name?
No, just a nice playmaker,
Okay. I'm going to go Scott Arfield as well.
Can he be a playmaker?
He probably could. He could push Felipe further up the field. But I don't think we need another midfielder. But that is not what we're here to discuss. Now we're going to move into part 2. Here at the preview pod, we look ahead. LAFC, Friday night at home. first of all. Friday night games. Are you a fan, Gideon?
No, because what do I do with my Saturdays?
Watch all the other MLS games on Disney.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. It's hard for some people to get to the games on a work night, but I think it's a good idea. Kind of gives a little bit of excitement to the end of the work week, and I'm a pretty big fan of them, honestly.
Nick, Friday games?
I'd rather be partying.
Okay, as you do. Okay, I'm a big fan of a weeknight game, really, because at the end of the workday, like Gideon was saying, you have something to look forward to. I do notice that the atmosphere isn't always great. I remember going to those CONCACAF Champions League group stage games.
But those are usually on a Wednesday.
Yeah, that's true. Friday games, I'm not sure if I've actually been.
Friday games are more full, I feel.
Yeah.
They're weird. They're so weird.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not weird for the players. Like, I know sometimes if there's an early kickoff, they get, weirded out by that, but there'll be a sense of occasion, I think. It's not often that you have a Friday game, right, Gideon?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's. I think we have 3 this year, though, in comparison to 1 or 2 last year. So
in the Premier League,
get used to that.
In the Premier League, the Friday games didn't really take off. Sky tried it, I think, a few times, and
yeah, a few years ago it didn't really pan out.
Yeah, and they had in the like agreement with the clubs that they could schedule Friday night games, but for viewing figure reasons, they didn't schedule any Friday night games. Like, there's very few Friday games this season. I think there's a few coming up, actually, but it hasn't really taken off at all. Well, moving on, let's look at the opposition. So we actually have a question from Chris Corrigan. He said, LAFC is like a fireworks display that fails to go off as planned. His question is, are they good? He says, I think they might be bad, but let's let the Caps believe they're good because that will mean that we play at their level. So, yeah, Chris has a view on how the Caps should approach that. We'll discuss that a little bit later, but to his original question, Gideon, are they any good?
Yeah, I think they are. I think, for me, this is our toughest home test of the season because, Montreal, they're missing a few key bodies. LA was missing a plethora of bodies, and we obviously didn't win that game. But I think, matchup standards, this is probably our toughest home game of the year. LAFC is a legit team. They built their team around Vela and Simon beautifully, and I think they made the right signings. They haven't spent a whole lot. They've made signings that, maybe are under the radar, and people don't realize how smart they are and how good of a manager Bob Bradley is and how he's used these players to the right amount this season. Do
you think it's our toughest game so far or our toughest game at all?
Toughest game at home, because I think the Atlanta game or Houston game was our toughest game away. So I think this is our toughest home test yet.
But like our toughest one, to this point. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Nick, what do you think? Are they any good?
I don't necessarily think they're good, but I do think they're a fun team in the sense that, they go out and they attack like crazy, and they play a pretty attractive style as well, I think.
But their defending can't be attractive to their fans. They've conceded 9 goals in the last 2 games.
Well, that's what I mean. It's a shootout, right? They're going for the shootout, and I think that they've accepted that so far, anyway, this season.
The whole El Tráfico's Zlatan versus LA thing has been talked to death, really. But LAFC's last game was against Atlanta, and they got absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
But to be fair, it was 2-0 at the 86th minute mark. Mm-hmm. And then they gave away a penalty and then a couple of other soft goals. In general, of their team, their squad building, what do you think Bob Bradley has had a big part in, he seems to pull all the strings for that team. What do you make of his squad building so far? Expansion team's not easy, right, Nick?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think I said something a little bit earlier. They've built themselves like Atlanta up front in the attack, but they've built themselves like Minnesota at the back. So
I really like that analogy.
They kind of don't. Their defense is kind of in shambles right now, and maybe it's to do with the fact that they have a lot of older defenders, perhaps, who are not, pacey enough, perhaps for the way the MLS is going. I feel like, I mean, this is just a feeling, and it has no data to back it up or anything, but I feel like the MLS is getting faster. Mm-hmm. And maybe if you're an experienced, considering how LAFC play, you need to be, a little bit careful about when you push up because it seems like that's when they're getting burned a lot.
Gideon, how much of this, like we just mentioned the amount of goals that they've conceded, how much of that falls on Bob Bradley's shoulders?
Honestly, not a lot. They've had a bit of rotation to start the year with Simon and Zimmerman in there, and as well as Jakovic. So those two have been interchanging a little bit, and that has to do with it a little bit as Zimmerman and Jakovic play a bit different styles, but I don't think it falls at all on Bradley. This is the team finding their feet. They've had lots of rotation to start the year, as I mentioned, throughout the back line and in midfield. So I think, it's not on his shoulders, it's on the team's shoulders. They're still finding their way a little bit, as you mentioned, attacking defensively wise. And I think they're going to be a good team come the rest of the year. But again, it's just about finding their feet, and I think they're doing a fantastic job of it so far.
I don't know if you guys got this sense, but during the off-season, I was casually following like how they would be building. They marketed their team really well, so it was attractive to kind of follow. But they seem to add their players really slowly. Like even into the preseason, it didn't seem like they had an 18, like let alone a deep squad. In the last game against Atlanta, they started the number 1 draft pick Moutinho, and he got sent off. He got constantly roasted by Julian Gressel, which means that we're probably going to see Jordan Harvey start in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that, Nick?
I think, he was an excellent presence, and I actually think he probably should be starting for LAFC.
In front of Moutinho?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Moutinho's good, and he's the number 1 draft pick, but
so was Omar Salgado.
Exactly. Like the draft can be, it's a gamble.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily know exactly what you're getting. I hope it pans out for Moutinho, because he seemed to be, maybe he needs to be moved, because I know he can also play in center mid, I think, right? Maybe he needs to be moved
mid.
there.
Yeah.
But I think it would be great to have Harvey, give him a little bit of a roasting, maybe.
Do you see Harvey dropping in there, Gideon?
Yeah, I think the soccer gods have been nice to us the past couple weeks. We have Zlatan coming on and scoring a beautiful goal, and Harvey is probably going to be plopped in there for Moutinho, got a red card, and it's nice to see him. Hopefully, I don't see anyone else sliding in there, but I think he deserves to start out. Honestly, I think he started the game this year. I haven't Moutinho yet, so that'll be fun to see, and I think there's a special pre-game ceremony for him too, so looking forward to that. They'll be there on Friday.
Oh, that'll be very nice. Did you guys catch any of the VAR incidents that happened in the Atlanta LAFC game?
The one where they rescinded the red card?
That was one of them. And also there was some VAR for the penalty as well. Just in general, it's a well-discussed topic, but your quick thoughts on the whole VAR integration process. We'll start with Gideon.
I think for a league like MLS to start, with all the referee incidents in years past and currently going on, I think it hasn't had the best reviews so far, but I think you just need to give it some time. It's a good league to have feel-out process in, because there's been so many questions about the referees, and I think now it's time to back it up and have the referees backs with the VAR. But it's not a bad idea to start it now, and I think it's good timing for this league. But like I said, it hasn't panned out yet with the fan reception, but it will work out eventually.
Nick, it's going to be in the World Cup.
Yeah, and I think aren't a number of MLS refs going to the World Cup for VAR? More
than English refs. There's no English refs.
Because exactly. So I don't see. Obviously, with any new technology that you bring in, there's going to be problems, and especially technology that has a human component to it, you're definitely going to have problems. But I think overall, it's been good. Obviously, there's always going to be decisions, and there's always going to be disagreements over those decisions, how one team sees it and how another team sees it. So I think it's good for the league that we are doing this. Like Gideon said, there's always been a lot of questions about the refereeing in this league, and hopefully that helps them and doesn't cause more questions to be asked.
I have to say, I was a big fan of VAR when it came in. And I was really interested in watching it, especially in Serie A. It's been fascinating to track it as it's gone on. And in the last few weeks, I've gone to the other side. It's not being implemented properly. Especially a big thing. Everyone says this, but I have to say it too. The fans have no idea what's going on, right? It would work. It works in rugby because the refs are mic'd up, right? Like you can hear exactly what the refs are saying, and you know exactly what their thought process is. But I just think something needs to be changed before it moves. It kind of gets established the way it is. And I just really hope it's the communication thing, because sometimes you're so lost. and so much weighs on these VAR decisions too. But it's been an interesting process. I'm glad the MLS has been like
In the forefront
of this. And some decisions get reversed. I thought it was funny to see. It was the first time I saw a red card brought back. Like in the second minute, I think it was McCann, a proud Irishman, a straight red card, and then he got pulled
Proudly
back.
Irish straight red card.
it was a really bad tackle. Okay, well, let's just talk about LAFC just a little bit more. We mentioned their attacking prowess. Carlos Vela, Diego Rossi, Urena, Latif Blessing was a really good player for Kansas last year. Biggest threat, Gideon?
I have down Rossi and Vela because they're probably one of the most 1-2 dangerous attacking group to start the season in MLS, and I think with that South American flair for Rossi and that Mexican prowess on the right wing, I think they're probably pretty dangerous. But I think the main threat right now is Rossi because defenders don't really know what he's like yet.
I think Vela, 3 goals, 2 assists. And I think I really like their style of play in the sense that they give their wingers, the striker is making some, he's opening up space for their wingers to do a lot of the work. And that's entertaining and fun to watch. And it's great to see Rossi and Vela, being able to combine so well, so early on too. So I hope it continues, but not against the Whitecaps.
Yeah. They have a Canadian in central midfield.
Oh yes, that is true.
Mark Anthony.
That was
K?
a very very good under the radar pickup because he came from the
Louisville of USL.
Yeah, he came from the USSR. Back in the US.
Yeah, he's been looking really good. I've kind of kept an eye on him because of the whole Canadian connection. And Phil Harbour beside him, that's not a bad team on paper. And their centre backs, like they haven't been defending well, but Siman and Zimmerman, or was it Kovar? You said Gideon plays in there as well.
Yeah,
Jakovic. Sorry. They're good defenders on paper, but Bob Bradley doesn't have the best reputation for setting up a defensive team. Ask any Swansea fan; they'll tell you how bad they were at defending. I think they won a game 5-4 in his
that's his one win.
Yeah, that was his one good result. But hey, if he can get Wilfred Bunny scoring, then I'm not even sure if Wilfred Bunny was there in Swansea at the time.
Yeah, but then I guess that's their game plan. Is just go all out, shoot out, just see if goals happen. So in that sense, it'll be an interesting game because it'll be this attacking force, and Whitecaps like to play tight. So,
but playing that way. Where do you think they'll end up, Nick, in the standings?
I think because of that and because of the defense, I think they're just going to finish just outside of the playoffs.
Just outside the playoffs.
But I could see them squeaking in.
Yeah. If they fix the back line.
Yeah.
Gideon, where are they going to finish in the standings?
Yeah, same for me. Just below the playoff line.
I think I just had them just over the playoff lane. I was basing it off of how bad the West was last season. It looks different right now, but... I think they could make it if they figure it out.
If they can figure some defensive structure out, I think they'll be fine.
Okay, we talked about their danger men, but the one person to watch out for, who do you think, Nick?
Oh, Vela. Totally.
Gideon?
Rossi.
Okay. I've always been scared of Latif Blessing. He's a really good player. Not quite like Albert Ellis levels of pace and power, but not far off in my own mind. Maybe I just haven't watched him, or I've watched him just at the right time. Well, good. That was our quick preview of LAFC. Now it's time for my favorite part of the show and Nick and Gideon's least favorite part of the show. It's time for Do You Know Who I Am? Okay, gentlemen, this week's Do You Know Who I Am? Yet again, a beauty.
Oh gosh.
The season standings are, can someone remind me, 3-2?
3-2 and 1 for you.
Oh, 1 for me,
yes.
Yeah. Last week it was,
Marco
Donadell.
Marco Donadell, yes.
And someone got Kobayashi, but they didn't get Donadell. That says a lot about our levels. Okay, 7 clues this time. I think if I had to guess, around clue 4 will be where you get it. But that's just my estimation. Okay. I was born on December 6th, 1979. I'm withholding the location of his birth for now.
Ooh.
Okay. My first pro team was Millwall. No takers? Okay. Since leaving the MLS in 2016, I've played in China, Australia, and England in that order. Nick has problems with remembering names.
Oh my gosh. Stop.
Yes.
Is it Tim Cahill?
It is Tim Cahill!
Yes! Oh! Get in there!
Oh, I was hoping for one more clue. Okay, I'll read out the rest of the clues for anyone who would want to hear that. I scored a wonder goal in the 2014 World Cup, even though my team went out in the group stage. I have 226 appearances for Everton and 62 for the New York Red Bulls. Clue number 6, I have 105 caps for Australia, and I went to 3 World Cups. And number 7, my signature celebration is boxing the corner flag. I am Tim Cahill. Congratulations, Nick. It's now what, 3-3 and 1?
3-3-1.
Okay, very good. Gideon, your thoughts on that competition?
3 weeks, so I need to pick it up.
Oh, hat trick! Oh no, sorry. I had last week. That was an own goal, though. I think by you guys. Come on. Well, that was really fun. That was this week's Do You Know Who I Am? We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Carl Robinson. You're listening to the AFTN podcast.
Okay, welcome back to the AFTN podcast. Now, part 3. I think the part that everyone cares about the most. It's we're previewing the Whitecaps side of things. So, just back after a 2-game road trip. It doesn't seem like there's been a lot of home games this season. It's been like, is this our 3rd or 4th home game now?
Third. Yeah,
Third home game. Yeah, it seems like we've been playing away so much.
Hey, that's okay. We're good on the road.
We're good on the road. However, Christina asks, why are the Caps so boring?
Well, my response to that is they're not boring. It's only to the untrained eye do they seem boring.
Read Inverting the Pyramid by Michael Cox, and then you'll see how beautiful it is. Gideon, do you have any answer to that question?
I'd rather not answer.
No comment.
I don't think they're that boring.
I don't think they're boring. I mean, like I said, it's really do you understand? Like, yeah, okay, they have a style, and it's not an attractive style.
Yeah.
You know that that MLS.com is gonna be like want to write a lot of articles about
any articles
about.
Well, like, they're going to be at home. It's going to be a little bit different, right? But
yeah.
Just a couple of more general questions before... sorry, Gideon, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think, honestly, it's just based on people's opinions and how they feel like we're going to play. If they're going to be scoring 50 goals a game, then they're going to be
that's true.
exciting. But if it's just going to be 1 or 2 goal games, then I can see where she's coming from for sure.
Yeah. Just a couple of general questions before we get down into the nitty-gritty stuff that we have planned to talk about. Who needs to step it up? Like, let's talk individuals. Which players do you think haven't been giving enough?
Well, and maybe this is unpopular and unfair perhaps, but Nerwinski. I don't think he's had the offensive production that he had since last year. I mean, he's been good. He's been very good.
Defensively,
yeah. But his offensive game hasn't been at the same standard as it was last year. And I'd like to see that component come back in a little bit.
Absolutely. Gideon, any individuals you want to see step up?
I think Mosqueda, if he's going to start and replace Reina, who we'll get to in a bit, I think he needs to step it up. He's been playing out of position a couple of times. I think he played right mid at some point at left mid. If he's starting a game and he's an explosive player, he needs to, get a goal or an assist. And, I think once in the past, if he scored a goal or got an assist, he's been playing really confident, and that's what we need from him right now.
For me, it is Mosqueda. Like, that was a bad game by him against RSL. Reina, too, I don't think...
Yeah, that's another one.
Where is the guy who we leaned on for the whole second half of the season? Like, there's not even a trace of that player left, right? Is it the other midfielders coming in that have kind of muscled him out of the way? He was our only attacking midfielder. But now we have Felipe,
But then
with the solid base Suarez behind him.
Another thing to ask as well is maybe the stuff during the off season.
That can't have helped at all.
I mean, that obviously couldn't have helped. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not a good, fun situation.
For sure. Okay. Flip the question around. Who's overperforming?
Shea.
Breck Shea? Yeah, that's very. I think Davies is overperforming, but that's not. I don't mean that in the way that he won't perform at that level consistently in his future. I'm just saying for his age, like for the season he had last season, right now he is, going full throttle. Gideon overperforming. Who you got?
Yeah, good point, Joe. I've written down Shea and Aha.
Yeah, Aha's a very good shout too, actually. Yeah. Let's do our weekly reshuffling of the centre back pecking order then. I think it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed since last week, right? It's still Waston and Aha.
I think so, yeah.
And for this game, you want Waston and Aha back there?
I think Aha has better control of the ball.
Yeah. Okay.
And like I said, I would, especially in a home game, if we can actually pass it out instead of just booting it up the field. Although we do have Kamara there, it would be nice to have a different option, because I feel like in the last 2 games we've been very cross heavy.
Yeah, and against opposition that we should not really be cross heavy against.
Yeah, exactly.
Gideon, do you think the Caps can play like this? And by like this, it's what we discussed. The long ball, very direct counter attack. Can we play like this all the way to the postseason, or do you see there being kind of an evolution if circumstances change?
No, I think it's just going to have to be an evolution, play it game by game. You can't have the same style all year because teams are going to start picking up on it, and that's what we've seen in the past. We've had a good first 4 or 5 months of the season, and teams pick up in our tendencies and pick us apart, and we've had terrible last 2 months of the year. I think we've started out, built up well enough to be progressive and good throughout the season while changing up our style at the same time. We switched formations already this year a couple of times, so I see that happening. I think we're going to have to change up based on who we're playing. We're going to have to change up our formation and our style just a little bit to kind of keep it fresh.
What do you see that evolving towards? More possession? I know people think this is super direct, but we can be more direct. Believe me, there are ways to become even more direct. But which way do you see it swinging?
I want to say possession, but how good of a team have we been in possession in the past that's worked out and score goals and stop goals from coming in? I don't remember a team where we've been successful in possession. So I think it's going to have to be soaking up the pressure and then counterattacking, getting chances when we can on the break, because that's what a team we've honestly built for as well.
Mm-hmm. Nick, it's a home game.
Yeah.
What changes do you see stylistically from the Caps?
Well, like I was harping on the crosses bit earlier, I'd like to see a plan B in attack.
So instead of overlap and cross or to cross from deep,
something like get the wingers to cut inside.
Okay.
Come try to combine with whoever's in the middle. Try something different, because I feel that, like Gideon said, teams are going to pick up on your style.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm pretty sure in Columbus we sent in 30 crosses. Well, what's the point of that when they know what we're going to do? They're set up for that. They're ready for that. And we got to change it up, force the other teams to react to that. So get a plan B or a plan C, whatever.
Yeah. Gideon, so in my head, there's a very specific moment where the Caps attacking sequence kind of falls flat. So it's when, the fullback and the winger have knocked the ball around a little bit. There's no openings on that side because everyone's back into position. They pass it to the center of the field to the holding midfielder, and then he passes it to the attacking midfielder. Okay? That's the moment in my mind where the attack breaks down. Maybe that's where we need that plan B, right? Something different there, right? Gideon, what is your plan B, even if it can be called a plan B, because it's a home game, we need to have more options, right? What do you think?
Well, I might get stoned for saying this, but I wouldn't mind seeing Blundell and Kamara play up top together in this game.
I'd be a big fan of that, actually.
I know Simon's a little bit taller in height, same with Jakovic, and same with Zimmerman as well, a very athletic center back. So I think Blundell and Kamara could definitely play up top. We haven't seen it this year. I think Rob was hesitant to do it just because, we don't have much options off the bench if that is to happen, but I would not mind seeing those two up top together to get some goals in the back of the net.
4-4-2 then?
4-4-2, yeah. And if it doesn't work out at halftime, maybe pull Blondell or Kamara off and change the dimension of our attack. But I think that's not a bad idea.
If there's one thing we know about like Carl Robinson as a tactician, it's that he always has a covering midfielder.
Yeah.
He does not leave his back four exposed. Do you think?
For 2 diamonds.
Okay, a diamond. That would be really attacking for like Robbo's style.
Mm-hmm.
He would still have his wingers, but I don't know if he'd have his numbers in the midfield that he would want.
Yeah.
Your holding midfielder would probably get overwhelmed in that case.
Yeah.
Especially against LAFC.
Exactly.
Attack.
Yeah. Against that attacking midfield, I don't know if that's, but it's could be a plan B, right? If you could get Blondell to tuck in or something, and then get some numbers in the midfield. I this game, as actually Nick just pointed that out to me, like the attacking midfield for LA would be they can overrun any team in MLS if they have their way, right? But I like that plan B. Like I really hope there's something something
new, something that can throw a curveball to the other team that perhaps they haven't seen before.
Yeah. Gideon, you said that this was the Caps' hardest home game to date, right?
Yes.
In terms of difficulty level of all the games that the Caps have played this season, where does this rank? Like home and away?
I think it's probably, I'm going to say third. Houston 1, Atlanta, both those games away at 2, and then this is probably the third toughest game we've had to play. Again, given that LA Galaxy were missing pretty much half their team, and that Montreal was missing a couple of key bodies, and Columbus, I think we're just going to leave out because it was a game that we knew we were going to win.
Yeah, I didn't know we were going to win. Yeah. I didn't get that text. Nick, what do you think?
I don't think it's going to be as difficult. I think it's the Whitecaps are going to, we have trouble at home. I think there will be a little bit of trouble, but I think they can pull through with this game because of LAFC's problems defensively.
Okay. I think I'm kind of on the same page as Gideon, I think. Houston away looked like a really scary game to me. But Atlanta was the hardest game. Also, that home game at the start kind of scared me as well. I'd put this game fourth. Only because LA have capitulated so badly in these last 2 weeks. Otherwise, I would have had this game up there. I would be at the game, but I have a final exam scheduled at the exact same time. But otherwise, I could enjoy it in person. But I'll have to record it and watch it after. So moving on, last week we talked a little bit about set pieces and how the Caps. Nick pointed out that the Caps haven't been getting set pieces in the right spots for us to really have a real threat from set pieces. But can we agree that it's becoming a problem now?
Yeah, it depends. Like last year, I don't have the stats in front of me, but what was the percentage of I feel like our goals how much came from set pieces?
Away from home, quite a few, I think. Yeah, Gideon, what do you think? Set pieces, is it like a big hole in the Caps game plan right now?
No, because if we weren't scoring goals at all, then I'd say it's a big hole. But if we're getting goals from chances from the wing and we're getting a lot of goals from crosses, I think it's not much to be worried about. If we're not scoring any goals, it's a 0-0 draw, then that's a big hole. But if you're getting goals from other sources than just set pieces, I think you have nothing to be worried about right now.
Gareth Wolf actually got in touch. His question is, what's going wrong with our dead balls? Like, are we just missing Bolaños? Too many new players not knowing their positions? Or have other teams figured out how to defend against us? It's a combination of those things.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Like, teams are wary to the fact that the Caps are dead ball, not specialists or anything. Particularly, though, I feel direct free kicks. Like, I don't really know who the person to take the free kick would be. Felipe? I don't know. Is he a free kick taker?
Yeah.
He is?
Felipe
Okay.
would be your best option.
That would be... Or even...
Well, Teixeira.
Yeah.
Especially if you're within range of goal. He's done it before.
But then you have the whole left foot, right foot thing. And then I say just let Breck Shea have a shot at everything. His goals per minute is probably, as Nick said earlier, probably the best in Caps history. Eric Hurtado too, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Reyna. Let's delve into this. Off-field stuff, sure. We saw him play on the right a little bit. Didn't really work for him. In the midfield, he just kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
What can we do? What can we do to get the best out of him?
I feel like Felipe is the more complete player right now.
Tracking back wise?
Yeah, like in terms of...
Reyna's more explosive.
True, but Felipe can pick a pass.
A key pass.
A key pass, as it were. And I feel like basically the midfield has become jammed with so many options. And I think, Felipe has carved out a niche. Tybert, I feel like he should actually be playing because he's carved out a niche.
That's another thing we should talk about.
And
actually.
Reyna really hasn't carved out anything.
Yeah. Not this season. Anyway.
Not this season anyway,
Yeah. Gideon, Reyna, and let's bundle the Tybert talk into that. Like, how should Tybert start, first of all?
This weekend?
Yeah. Or,
not this game. I don't think he will.
Nick, pull out your stat.
Yeah, so this was tweeted, what was it? Matt Doyle, the king of MLS.
The judge, jury, and executioner of MLS.
What was it? He said when Tybert plays, there's 3 wins, 0 losses, 0 ties, plus 3 goal differential. When he doesn't play, there's 0 wins, 2 losses, 1 tie, minus 4 goal differential.
Gideon, that's pretty damning. Any response?
Yeah. There's the usual, what player fits this style for that kind of game. And I think Tybert, even though I just said he shouldn't start, he deserves to start. I don't see a reason for him not to, but I think if Gazal's fit, you just have to put him in there. There's no reason not to have him out.
Has Gazal featured since he got back?
Yeah, he's played a couple of sub-appearances.
Yeah, sub-appearances, though.
Yeah, because, after a long-term injury, you give him a few sub-appearances, and then they can start. I want Tybert to start this game.
I feel I feel he's deserved it.
Yeah, and he can play left-back if something happens.
Yeah,
so it's fine. Okay, well, any last discussion topics you guys want to throw in for the Caps before we move on to the last part of the show? Should be a good game, right? Like attack versus defense.
Well, I feel like it's the immovable object versus the unstoppable force. But the unstoppable force does have a lot of holes in it. So
the really movable object versus the really not unstoppable force. Okay, well that's our the end of the preview from the Whitecaps side of things. Now we move on to the last part of the show. It's our prediction game. Last week, pretty good showing. Gideon, you said that Davies would have 3 shots. He had 0 shots. You said Aha would have 4 headed clearances. He only had 2 clearances, not even with his head, so that he could not have had 4 headed clearances. You can appeal that if you want, but yeah, I don't think it's going to fly. Waston yellow card? Yes.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed. So you got 1 out of 3. Nick, 15 Whitecaps interceptions. They had 16, so I'm giving that, because that's a really good prediction. Davies' assist didn't happen, and Romando made 3 saves, not 4 saves. But 1 out of 3 for Nick. And for myself, I said that Davies would score a goal. No. Breck Shea did, though. Justin Glad would get a yellow card. That did happen. Shea, pass accuracy of 55%. He had 50% pass accuracy. And we have the plus or minus 2.5, so that didn't really end up happening.
Close.
1 point each. So I think I'm on 6 points and you guys are on 4, I believe.
Yes.
I'll have to verify that.
Yes.
I didn't check it this week. But let's get your predictions for this week, Gideon.
First one, Carlos Vela will have 2 key passes going with Nick's team.
So Vela will have 2 key passes. Okay.
Yeah. Marinovich will have 4 saves.
Okay.
And I think the Whitecaps will hold between 55 to 60% possession.
55 to 60% possession. Okay.
Yes.
Nick?
Okay, so I have Teixeira with 1 assist.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I think the Whitecaps will score 2 goals this game.
Okay.
And LAFC will have, you'll like this stat, Joe, aerial duel success of 40%.
Oh, boy.
40%.
40%.
Okay. That's actually one I could see happening. Okay, I'm going to go for Kai Kamara assist, Carlos Vela yellow card, and a brand new introduction to the prediction game, 1 VAR incident.
Ooh.
So that means he goes to the screen, or he gets instruction from the guy.
Team Yellow.
Yeah.
Representing Team Yellow.
Team ref. I just realized we didn't go through our lineup. Let's go quickly through that. In goal, Marinovich.
Yeah.
Yes.
Left back, Gideon.
Young.
De Jong, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, center back, Aha and Waston is what I have.
Yep.
Yep.
Nerwinski.
Yep.
Right back.
Yep.
Gideon, you going for the 4-2-2 or 4-2-3-1?
4-2-3-1.
Okay. I have Tybert and Juarez in the holding midfield.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Gideon?
I want to see Gazal if he's fit, but if not, Tybert and Juarez.
Okay. Attacking midfielder in the center is Felipe.
Yep. I would agree with that.
Left wing, Breck Shea.
I'd like to see Teixeira in this game.
Okay. I have Teixeira on the right wing. Gideon, left wing. Davies, right wing. Teixeira. Davies and Davies. Up front, Kai Kamara.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Well, thanks very much for listening to the AFTN preview podcast for LAFC at home this Friday. Let's let everyone know where we can be found. Gideon, you have a new Twitter handle, I believe.
I do. It's @_Gideon Hill. I'm no longer 18, so that throws the Gideon Hill 18 out the window. So _Gideon Hill.
Okay, Nick?
At Space Age Robot 56.
Welcome to the space age, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I am at Joe DC Van. Thanks very much for listening. Please get in touch if you have any suggestions, any comments, any questions. We'll be happy to answer. Enjoy the game. It's going to be a good one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like hopefully a 5-5 scoreline.
Yeah, shootout.
Red cards from Marinovic and whoever LA's goalie. That'd be great. Well, thanks very much for listening and enjoy the game.
One day I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.